If you had 3 weeks to go after the most dangerous fat in your body, would you know where to start? Because here's the part almost nobody tells you. The fat you can pinch on your stomach isn't the one that puts you at risk. The real threat is hidden deeper, wrapped around your liver, your heart, your kidneys. It's called visceral fat, and you can be thin and still have a lot of it. It quietly pumps inflammation into your bloodstream around the clock, and it's linked to some of the biggest health risks we track: heart disease, insulin resistance, arterial plaque buildup. And most people never find out how much they're carrying because the imaging that actually measures it isn't part of a routine checkup. Today, I'm walking you through 6 things, backed by real research, that target visceral fat specifically, not just weight loss in general. No fad diets, no fat burners. Let's get into it. If you want more breakdowns like this, subscribe. I post evidence-based health content every week. Number 6. Grains of paradise. This one flies under the radar. Grains of paradise is a West African spice in the ginger family. Peppery, slightly citrusy, used in traditional medicine for centuries. What's interesting to researchers is its effect on brown fat. Your body has 2 types of fat tissue: white fat, which stores energy, and brown fat, which burns energy to produce heat. We're born with a good amount of brown fat, but most adults lose much of it over time. Early clinical research, including a study published in the British Journal of Nutrition, looked at a compound in this spice called 6-paradol and found it may help activate brown fat thermogenesis, essentially prompting the body to burn more energy for heat. Look for an extract standardized for paradol content and use it consistently, daily, ideally before a meal, since the studied effects come from sustained use, not occasional dosing. You can also use the whole spice in cooking, though the concentrated extract gives a more measurable dose. Number 5. Black seed oil. Black seed oil comes from Nigella sativa and has a use history spanning thousands of years across the Middle East and South Asia. Modern research has actually caught up with some of the traditional claims. Multiple reviews of randomized trials have found associations between black seed oil supplementation and reductions in body weight, waist circumference, and markers of abdominal fat. The compound getting the most attention is thymoquinone, which appears to support insulin sensitivity and may activate AMPK, an enzyme often described as a metabolic switch that shifts the body toward burning stored fat rather than storing more of it. If trying it, start with a small amount, around a teaspoon, mixed into food or a smoothie to let your stomach adjust. Then build up gradually. Cold-pressed organic oil is generally preferred. As always, check with a doctor first if you're on medication. Active compounds like this can interact with certain drugs. A quick favor, drop a comment telling me which of these 6 you're most likely to try. I read all of them. Number 4. Cold exposure. This one doesn't involve eating anything. Cold exposure triggers a release of norepinephrine, a hormone that activates brown fat and appears to specifically stimulate the breakdown of visceral fat stores, which carry a higher density of the receptors this hormone acts on compared to fat just under the skin. Research on cold exposure, including work published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation, has shown measurable increases in brown fat activity and improvements in insulin sensitivity after short but consistent periods of cold exposure over just a couple of weeks. You don't need an ice bath. Start by ending your regular shower with 20-30 seconds of cold water and build up gradually over the following 2 weeks. The water should feel genuinely uncomfortable. That discomfort is roughly the signal that the response is being triggered. Keeping your bedroom slightly cooler at night may add to the effect. Number 3. Fermented foods. Your gut bacteria communicate directly with your fat tissue. This is often called the gut fat axis. Several studies, including large twin cohort research out of King's College London, have found that people with greater gut microbial diversity tend to carry less visceral fat, independent of diet and exercise. The bacteria most implicated, Lactobacillus, Bifidobacterium, and Akkermansia, produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which appear to reduce inflammation in fat tissue and support how the body metabolizes stored fat. Aim to include a variety of fermented foods daily, plain kefir or yogurt with live cultures in the morning, a couple tablespoons of sauerkraut or kimchi with meals, miso soup a few times a week. Choose raw, unpasteurized versions where possible, since heat processing kills the live cultures that make these foods effective. If this is useful so far, hit like. It helps this reach more people who need it. Number 2. Sulforaphane, broccoli sprouts. Sulforaphane is a compound found in cruciferous vegetables, with broccoli sprouts containing dramatically higher concentrations than mature broccoli. Research, including a notable study in Science Translational Medicine, has linked sulforaphane to activation of the NRF2 pathway, the body's master antioxidant defense system, which may help reduce the chronic inflammation that keeps visceral fat metabolically stuck. Other lab research suggests sulforaphane may interfere with the genetic signals that drive new fat cell formation and may support healthier glucose metabolism in the liver. Grow broccoli sprouts at home cheaply. Soak sprouting seeds overnight. Rinse twice daily, and you'll have a jar of sprouts in 3 to 5 days. Eat them raw. Cooking destroys the enzyme needed to activate sulforaphane. Blended into a smoothie or added to a cooled meal works well. Number 1. Berberine. Berberine is a compound found in several plants, including golden seal and Oregon grape, with a long history in traditional Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine. It's also the most clinically studied compound on this list for visceral fat specifically. A 2020 meta-analysis in Phytomedicine, reviewing dozens of randomized trials, found associations between berberine supplementation and reductions in body weight, waist circumference, and C-reactive protein, a key inflammation marker linked to visceral fat. Some researchers have compared its effect on AMPK activation to metformin, a commonly prescribed diabetes medication, though berberine is not a substitute for prescribed treatment and shouldn't be used as one. Because berberine is genuinely active and can interact with diabetes and blood pressure medications, anyone on prescription medication should talk to their doctor before starting. For everyone else, it's typically introduced gradually with food to minimize stomach discomfort. So that's 6 research-backed angles on visceral fat. A West African spice activating brown fat, black seed oil supporting insulin sensitivity, cold exposure forcing your body to burn fat for heat, fermented foods reshaping your gut bacteria, broccoli sprouts blocking new fat cell formation, and berberine working through some of the same pathways as prescription medication. None of these require extreme dieting or hours at the gym. They require consistency. And now, the right information. If this helped, subscribe for more evidence-based breakdowns like this one. New videos every week.